All right, brother. So, I'm doing another to catch up with the pop the balloon. So, the question, brothers, is it worth it when it comes to long distant relationships? Or is it worth it, brothers? Is it worth it? You got these two who I guess they matched. One lives on the East Coast, one lives on the West Coast. I will be talking about it. I'll be chiming in throughout the video. So let's go ahead and get into it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It's your host, Arlette, and we are here today with Jeremiah and Shayna. Welcome, y'all. How we feeling?
Feeling good.
Feeling good.
Okay. We got big old smiles. I like that. I like that. So, we had you all on episode 19 of Pop the Balloon or Find Love, where you guys ended up matching. Okay, so is it going to be a yes for you for
Yes.
him? And is it a yes for you for
Of
her?
course,
We
100%.
got a match! I'll take this. And you guys can go on up. Let's give it up for them, y'all. All right. So, obviously, on your episode of episode 19, people had quite a lot to say, as we saw in the comments. Shayna, we'll start with you. So, a lot of the comments, they were all calling you purple dress, by the way. Everybody was
I
like,
was
purple
wearing
dress,
pink.
purple dress.
I was wearing pink.
For some reason it looked purple a little bit. Yeah, so everybody's like, purple dress doesn't want to take accountability, and whatever it may be. How did you feel about reading those comments and talk us through the moment when you were in there getting asked these questions and whatever it was?
Okay, so when I came to set, I honestly didn't think I was going to match with anyone. I walked on set and I seen all these gorgeous women there. Episode 19, I'm not sure if y'all remember the lineup, but these girls were gorgeous.
Yes, they were.
So I said, I'll just come for the experience. I'll come and have fun. If you guys remember the episode, I was laughing and giggling.
Brothers, I think this is maybe number 6 on the catch up. I think every female that has came on the catch up has said that they're coming for experience. So are you coming? You come on the show to find love, to find a partner. But again, every single female that I have watched on the catch up has said that they came for the experience. So that's not so them finding love is not even the first thing that they're looking for. They're coming in there to have fun. They're coming in there for the experience, and they're coming in there just to get their followers up on their Instagram and their TikTok and all their other little social media sites. Just to let you know. And we all know that women, the number one drug for the so-called black woman is attention. They love attention. Let's continue.
Giggling the whole time, and I was asked a few questions, and which I didn't answer. And honestly, watching that episode and reading the comments, they were brutal. But I do understand why so many people are upset. That I do understand. Coming from my point of view, which is something I learned major being on the show, and I was speaking to Jeremiah about it, is I live like a private life for the most part. And one of my biggest mistakes was coming on a public show trying to be so private. And I learned major, that was a big no.
Yeah.
Which is why I didn't answer some of the questions. If I could go back and redo it, which I can't, it's already done.
Right, exactly.
But growing from this experience, I would have answered. Even if I didn't want to, I should have given an explanation.
Okay.
So I did learn that. And after the show, when I was reading the comments, I did call Jeremiah. And I said, do you want me to answer the question? Which he did say yes to. And I said, the show apart, let's put the show aside, just me and you.
What
Do
up,
you want to
Real?
know the answer to this question that he had asked? Because he had asked me something that I did wrong and something that my ex did wrong in our past
Right.
relationship. And I did answer the question to Jeremiah. So,
Okay.
yeah. I really didn't feel so safe in a space full of strangers to let that part of me out. And what I could have told Jeremiah was, we can have this conversation off camera, which we did,
Yeah.
So I learned from that experience that if you're going to go on this show and you think you live a private life, don't do it. Or don't come on the show and not answer questions.
Trying to be
'cause,
private, yeah.
people will come for you. And people said so much like, I've cheated in the past, which I never have, or I don't take accountability, which I do take a lot of accountability. And I have people in my circle who do keep me accountable too,
That's good.
So I am an accountable person, but I can say my biggest mistake, one of the few that I made on the show, was not answering that, and I should have answered it. And one more thing that I did do wrong, which I told Jeremiah too, is I shouldn't have popped. I should have given him the opportunity, if I didn't answer the question, to pop, because I popped before, as soon as he answered the question. So I know.
Now, brothers, I do remember this episode. He asked her, "What did she do wrong?" Like her relationship. What did they both do wrong in her relationship? And she popped her balloon because she didn't want to answer the question. But again, brothers, a lot of women don't want to take accountability for their actions. But she ended up getting her balloon back. So, but I do understand where she's coming from, where she said that she did not want to make it public. She wanted to keep it private. But hey, he asked a question and she didn't answer it. But go ahead, my brother.
I kind of don't agree with that, what you just said, Slim, because it's almost is I feel like women have a difficult time giving a conclusion to how things just went, or self-awareness or accountability. I feel like they have to tell a story. So the reason why she didn't feel comfortable around all these people, because she had to tell a story. She couldn't just say the conclusion or to why things didn't work out. She couldn't just say, "Oh, I just simply just didn't do this and that." Because it wouldn't. She feels like if she said it like that, the judgment would probably be on her, rather than, she just wants you to tell. She just wants to say something where there's no judgment on her, where she doesn't feel like, oh, he's looking at me. But that's the rules of engagement. When you put yourself out there, that's what it is. Judging is how people operate on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
So I do think women have a hard time just giving a conclusion, because the story mode version of like how they answer questions it can't give that. So of course she's going to have to tell some crazy circumstances in this story to highlight more probably on the other person than she did. And when we want to know what role you play, when we want to know why things didn't work out. We don't necessarily care about the guy unless he did something that makes you have a behavior that affects our relationship.
Right.
Like, we typically want to know what you're going to be, what you're holding yourself accountable for. That's it.
Okay. Well, we have two different perspectives, but let's go ahead and continue, because I really want to focus on the long distance relationship part. But let's continue.
I know I said a lot, so I grew from the
What up, Mugga?
experience. I've learned a lot. So yeah.
Okay, that's good. See, and so look at that, y'all. She's taking accountability now. She came out right out the gate, ready to take accountability. They can't come for you now. We'll see. We don't know about the internet. We never know. So Jeremiah,
Yes.
Obviously, like she said, she ended up popping on you initially.
Right.
However, that didn't deter you. When she got that balloon back, you were still ready to match. Why so?
Yeah, so I believe in second chances sometimes.
Okay.
But I saw Shayna, I'm like, wow, she's very beautiful. And I'm like, let me just give her a second chance. You never know.
Exactly.
Because when you give a second chance to some people, they end up surprising you, end up being the one. But we can kind of speak on how things went after the fact.
Okay, well, that's a good segue. Let's jump right into it then. So, since you guys ended up matching, have you gone on a date? Have you hung out?
Kind of.
Uh-oh. Tell me about it.
So after the show, we, us and Julius and JoJo, we all went on a double date. I think they may have mentioned it.
They did.
In the past follow-up show. So after that, we had a very good night. It was very fun at the hookah lounge. After that,
No hookah was done.
yeah, I was like, wait, why are we at a hookah lounge and we're not smoking hookah? But after the hookah lounge and after the show, we talked here and there, we texted here and there, but honestly, I don't know if you want me to say anything, but at the end of it, we were like, maybe things didn't work out the way that they were supposed to be. But in the end, we ended up being very amicable.
Okay.
And we are still single.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so Shayna, what happened?
Okay, so to kind of repeat what he said, so once we left the show, we went on a double date with Julius and JoJo. Shout out to them. I saw that they're doing great. We had an incredible night. I'm glad I didn't match with Jeremiah that night. You know, we were just giggling the whole night. And then we ended up that night, I'm not sure if you remembered, we had watched a previous episode of Pop the Balloon in the car. And we were like, this is how people are going to like roast us, you know? So we did have a good first date. But after our first date, we kind of
Fizzled out.
fizzled out a little bit. I still think very highly of Jeremiah, but we just didn't work out. I live on the East Coast. He lives on the West Coast, which I think is kind of a big reason why we didn't work out as much too.
Okay.
There's a few other things, but one of the main reasons, in my opinion.
So initially when we matched, she said that she lived in Florida, and I was initially okay with that because I'm like, okay, we can kind of work something out.
Yeah.
I can book a flight, go see her. She can book a flight and come see me. But as things went on, I'm like, okay, really not feeling that the spark wasn't there, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So,
And this was how soon after?
So, brother, before I let him continue, that's a big decision that both of them are going to have to make. And I feel like he should have probably asked that question before he even, matter of fact, they actually let you know where they're from. So I don't understand, if he knew that was going to probably be a problem, why even choose her anyway? So, brothers, we got to make the right decision, because she might have had a lot of stuff going on. No one's going to pick up and leave just like that. On top of that, these long-distance relationship is going to cost you money. I'm not sure how much a ticket is because I don't remember where he's from, but she lives in Florida. All I know, he lives somewhere on the West Coast. He's probably going to say it later, but because this is my first time watching this. But, brothers, listen, a ticket's probably going to cost you, I'm just going to just say between $400 to $500. Are you willing to spend that once a month? And then on top of that, a lot of you guys, I'm not saying y'all going to have insecurities. Both of y'all probably going to have, maybe I'll say that both of y'all might have a little bit of insecurity, because once he go back home, or once she go back home, you're going to be thinking like, is she messing with somebody else? Is he messing with somebody else? You have a lot to think about. Do you really want to stress yourself out like that? But let's go ahead and continue.
After you.
this was about maybe like a week ago.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Oh boy.
Jump right in.
You want to go first?
I can go first.
Go ahead.
So since we stayed, it was going to be long distance. One of the reasons that, in my opinion, I know Jeremiah said he didn't feel a spark, which I respect. I still think he's very attractive. I know he thinks the same about me. But it was Jeremiah's lack of communication. I barely heard from Jeremiah after the show. He would text me here and there. And one thing I do appreciate about him is he knew I got a lot of backlash from our episode, and he was texting me to check up on me. I do appreciate you doing that. But other than that, there was really no communication between us, like no calls, no FaceTime. So it kind of just let me know that he wasn't really interested. And that's how I took it. So yeah.
Like would you like message him and you wouldn't hear anything back, or?
No, he would text me back, or he would text me, or I would text him. But it was very like short conversations. Like it wasn't really getting to know me, or it was just like, hey, how are you kind of thing. And that was it. Like it was nothing. Like we had 2 phone conversations. I was telling to BM, which is your husband. Yeah. We had 2 phone conversations since the show, and I'm the one who initiated both of the conversations. So, his actions just showed a lot that he wasn't like, it's not something he was feeling, which, I was fine with. I told him after the show, if this is something you want to pursue, just let me know. If not, let me know too. I'm cool either way. So, yeah, his action just told me that he really wasn't interested, and I was fine with that. So, yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
Oh.
That's very interesting.
What's your perspective on it?
So we did have a conversation offline about the distance and me trying to come out to go see her. And we had a conversation about me just flying out. And when I was actually in the process of booking a flight to go see Shayna, she said no.
I did say no.
So when
So how soon after the show, after you guys matched, when was this?
this was about a week after the show.
Oh.
It wasn't a week after the show.
Okay, a week and
It
2
was
days.
no, it was probably 3 weeks after the show. It was when BM reached out to me to do our catch up episode, and I reached out to you and said, "Hey, BM wants to do our catch up." You're like, "Well, I haven't even gotten a chance to get to know you. Let me come out to Florida," and that's when I said, I would much rather you have gotten to know me first, through call, through text, than for you just to fly to Florida. Because what if we weren't even compatible?
Listen, it's really, really difficult to find out about somebody through phone calls and text. And I get it, but it's still very difficult. But I guess you guys, them guys can have the talk. But brothers, I'm gonna just say this: if you're willing, if you're really interested about wanting to be with somebody, y'all gonna have to have a talk, because somebody's gonna have to move. Because again, ain't nobody out here making millions to be flying back and forth every month just to see each other. I know I wouldn't want to do it. If I'm interested in somebody, either I'm gonna move, or I would expect her to move with me or move near me. But that'll be a conversation. But this is just the beginning stage. So, but go ahead, my brother.
Yeah, I would recommend two people that already travel a lot, because there's a lot of people that travel and do business that way and they operate that way. It would work for two people, because that's their line of work. They don't really have a stationary place they reside in. They probably got like a little cheap apartment, because they travel. They may work a really, really good job, but they just don't have a planted space because they're travelers. That would be a good thing. The other version would be, I would say, the reason why we look at the long distance relationship to be questionable is because, one, we do not know how to communicate with each other even when we're in front of each other.
Right.
So we tell ourselves that we always give a conclusion to certain alternatives to dating, and it's almost like we're saying, hey, we're doing the right thing when it comes to communicating, when it comes to setting these standards and boundaries in these conversations. We're talking as though that happens, and we know that doesn't happen.
Right.
And how many times have we even came to my panel and asked women, do you know what vetting is? And they don't know. It's probably been one time out of like 30 women that I've asked what vetting is. They don't know what it is. So the lack of communication skills is the first problem when it comes to pursuing a person. I think that makes any type of circumstance hard. Yeah, and it's going to make it hard. It's going to be worse for a long distance if you already lack communication skills in your long distance, because they can't even get the time frame right. One saying a week and 2 days, the other person saying 3 weeks.
Right.
So that's what happens when there's no communication. They can't even say a substantial meeting place. But I would say that I can understand why a woman would be uncomfortable with meeting up with somebody because getting to know them. But then I would say, why would you even go on a show like that and then go on a date before there's a time you could actually meet for real, for real? Like, what would make you take this type of alternative route if you're already going to be kind of precautionary about getting to know somebody? Like, that show right there is pretty much like a stop and drop. Like, you got to kind of risk more than meeting a stranger at the mall, like that situation. You know what I'm saying? They went to a hookah lounge. I would have thought she would have been a little more comfortable with taking that chance because she went on the show, but
Right.
I guess not.
And what my brother said, one important thing that my brother said here is about communication. Again, I'm sure that they knew that they both lived in different areas. And I mean, like, they both lived thousands, we'll just say 500 miles away. One lived on the east side of the United States, one lived on the west side. I'm sure that was mentioned before they even matched. So the brother, I don't know, maybe he was just looking at her and was like, man, she's beautiful. Maybe it was just an infatuation thing. I think I said that word correctly. So, brothers, we really got to take our time. This show here is just it's just like my brother said, stop, what is it? you know, you see something, you pick it up, and then that's it. It's almost like a Happy Meal, fast food. That's it. We're not taking the time to even get to know one another. So, and I'm going to put the onus on him because he should have made better judgment since he was the one that was picking her. So he should have made better judgment on that. But let's continue.
compatible, you know? So that's why I didn't say no, like it's a no, do not come and see me. It was a no, I'd rather you have gotten the time to know me first, which I feel like you really didn't do.
Yeah, no, I really get that. So the way that I think that you get to kind of know a person a little bit better is to actually see them in person, see them in the flesh.
Okay.
Right? To see that look at their body language, look at how they're speaking, and you actually get to see the physical person. And even if things didn't work out, I can go to Disney World. It's in Orlando.
And I
So I agree with him on what he just said. I agree with him, but there's a but to it. It would have. She might be thinking something else. She could have probably think that all he's doing is flying out and he's trying to get some trim, and then that's it. And then let's just say he does get some trim, and then that's it. He dips out and he doesn't talk to her again. So I get it that she's cautious about him, but again, they should have had the conversation before. But their timetable is mixed up. Again, my brother said the brother said 1 week. She said 3 weeks. So I don't know. But go ahead, my brother.
All right. And what's crazy about this, and I agree with what you're saying, what's crazy about this is their first time having a conversation about how they feel the approach should be done when getting to know someone. He's saying person, she's saying communication over the phone is good enough for her to feel comfortable. So they're having this conversation, and they probably had this towards the part where he wanted to visit her, but this is something he should have led with if this is how he approaches things. Hey, I just want to let you know, I know we met on the show, but I am the type of guy, I'm willing to fly out there to come to meet you. I am, he said. So is there anything that you need that makes you feel comfortable? Are you okay with that? Would you rather, he should have led with that. It shouldn't be a debate right now, because if y'all both solidified the meeting process, then this wouldn't be an argument. He would have known that she just needs a conversation. He probably would have put effort to that. Or she would have said, you know what? I like this approach. Yeah. Come visit me. So two different viewpoints that could have been done prior to when something happens, a circumstance. Now I think she's trying to say that when they had to do this reunited thing, that's when he decided to say, well, let me meet you. Right. And look at it, like if that's the case, then look, this is why I said you gotta, when you first meet somebody and you're ready for a relationship, I'm only speaking on relationships, you gotta make the time. If your job or your kids or finances limit that, then maybe you're not ready to be in a relationship. They're not. This is probably not their issue. Their issue is simply communication.
Right.
That's their issue. That's it. That's it.
And brothers, one more thing. I'm still going to be chiming in throughout the video, but again, I don't remember where. I don't even know what part of the United States you stay. I don't know where in the United States you stay. I just know he stays on the west side. But you're telling me that there are no genuine women where you live at, or even on the west side of the United States? So, yeah, communication. Women say it all the time. We don't communicate. I do disagree to a certain extent, but this here is not looking good for you, brother. It really isn't. Let's continue.
And I understand that, Jeremiah, but still, no effort was put in at all prior to you saying, hey, I want to come see you. If we were to do this, we were going to be long distance regardless. So call and text and FaceTime was all we had. And you didn't even give that to me. So when you said, hey, I want to come see you, I was like, come see me for what? This man has not showed interest for the past few weeks. And now all of a sudden he wants to hop on a plane and come to Florida. So that's why I said no. So
wanting to go see someone in person is quite literally the action of trying to get to know them. I'm more of an in-person person. Texting, calling, FaceTiming is okay, but I'd rather see you in the flesh. I'd rather be able to hug you in person, really get to know you and possibly meet your friends, but you really can't do a lot of that over texting and calling.
Okay.
So that was my point. I'm trying to come
So,
out there here.
have you ever had a long distance relationship or fling, whatever it is, beforehand?
Yeah, yes, I have.
Okay.
And it's been a consistent, like, me coming out there, that person coming out to wherever I'm at. And it worked out for quite a long time. But eventually there comes a point where one person or the other has to eventually relocate
Right.
to the same city as the other person. And those past relationships didn't reach that point.
Okay.
So then you can't really say that it was a good relationship then, if it didn't even get to the point where one of you guys relocated. I can't see that's the thing. The way I look at this is all you did was probably have fun. That's it. You didn't one of y'all flew each other out, but y'all flew out. It's not gonna work like that. All y'all did was probably have fun. Y'all went to some city, some spectacular place. Y'all spent about four or 5 days, and then he or she left, and then y'all did the same thing over again. So y'all really did. I don't even believe that y'all really got to know each other. That's just my personal opinion. I could be wrong, but neither of y'all made it to the point where one of y'all relocated to where y'all was both in the same city. That's a problem. But go ahead, my brother.
Yeah, on an external viewpoint, yeah, I agree. That's the bigger picture. But I think what she's saying, she makes a good point. She's saying prior to meeting me, and this is like, even though he's saying, this is where I agree with you when he said that it's the man that should have reinforced this to be a standard, so she would understand, so she can ask questions. Well, does this mean prior that we're still going to be communicating, so I can feel a little more comfortable as a lady, as a woman that's bringing a man to where I live at? Because if that's so important to him, and this is where I think both are wrong, but I believe he wants to be the leader. He has to take accountability for the bigger picture of the relationship. For her, she wants things to be protected. So this is where I'm talking about protecting things that are important about you as a woman. So if these things are important about you, if this process, then you lead with it. Because you might meet a man that thinks, well, I work like this, so I'm not going to put that much time and energy on the micro level conversations and FaceTiming that we could have. I'm focusing more on the video call. He's ultimately wrong as far as I'm concerned, because he's putting emphasis overshadowing what she just said. Hey, prior to that, you wasn't communicating. To me, that's sufficient enough for you to say, come see me. He's saying, well, how I look at it is, come see you. He's not even considering that it makes more sense to what she's saying in progression to like how they could meet. It's about the simple fact that this communication this would have solved a lot of problems if they would have had this conversation specifically, because she says something that makes more realistic sense. You're gonna be long distance no matter what.
Right.
So communication, the things that are going to matter more, that's going to stand out until we get more exclusive or we're in a real relationship, until there's a big decision to be made, we're going to have to do this mandatory, or unless we just believe that we can just talk to each other any day, any other random day, and it's just going to pan out. What he's saying is, blah, 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 blah. I like to meet people. And that just goes to show what type of person if she would have had this conversation, she would have known that this guy operates unrealistically.
Right.
She's saying something that's more realistic. They're long distance, whether he does it that way or not. So communicating this way would have made more sense to me, and I agree with her. So yeah, I'm glad that, now, I mean, the men are looking bad when it comes to this portion of her show. That's all I got to say about that.
Right. So, brothers, this is my 5th one that I've watched today. I have 2 already on my YouTube channel. I'm gonna just say this: this Pop the Balloon right now is just looking like microwave dating. That's all it is. Just a quick, and a lot of these so-called couples are not making it. They don't even make it past the first or even second. They don't even make it to the second date. So it ain't looking good. And I'm gonna just say this too. It just seems like it's a big embarrassment for so-called black men and women of America. Isn't it? In my opinion, it's an embarrassment. But let's continue.
So now between the visits where you would go over there or they would come to you, how was the communication?
Oh, it was excellent.
Oh.
So after the initial visit, I typically can kind of gauge a person, whether that's going to be a potential relationship or not. So the purpose of the like a physical trip is twofold. So it's to get to know the person and then figure out if this person could be a potential relationship in the future.
Okay, so it sounds like you guys have like different ways of how you want to start off a relationship.
Yeah, and
Right.
we didn't both realize that until we were both like, yeah, no. You know, it's speaking to him after the fact. He's like, this is what I want to do. Well, I'm like, I prefer you gotten to know me first, you know, because if we're long distance, all we have is call, text, and FaceTime. And he's
Right.
like, no, I want to see you. And so, you know,
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
And then so did you guys ever have this conversation before, or it was just kind of like that's it, we're done?
Wow, she looks at me like that. So we kind of had this type of conversation, but it was nothing that was like set in stone to where like, okay, this is how you like to know a person. This is how I like to know a person. Let's see if there is some way we can meet in the middle, to where we can kind of compromise and make it work on both ends.
which we should have done.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
that's failure on both of our ends that we kind of didn't.
I got you, bro. Sorry.
And whose fault is that? And this is the thing. I mean, I like how she's holding herself accountable to the fact that they didn't have a conversation. But ultimately, I don't care what no man says. If he has this shit together, we're talking about well-rounded men, just average men. Got their stuff together. That's statistically proven. I got to put that out there. Black men. Whose fault is that on his end if he did not solidify this is ultimately how we're going to do things? If he ultimately in a relationship wants to be the leader. Now, you're right. Ultimately, there would probably have to be a compromise because they both have two opposing directions to the thing. I think that she's more realistic because when he goes back home, and like Slim said, that costs money. It costs money. So he's putting all betting all on the meetup because he feels like he can identify with certain things. And I'm saying that I think that more or less you're going to identify with things based on your past experiences, and that's not healthy. Now, the simple fact that you're not even understanding that she's saying that, yes, meeting would be a better circumstance, but we're long distance ultimately. So that 3 days or possibly a week, if that's the case, but more likely than not, it's probably going to be a 2 to 3 day thing, and you're going back home. So when you're back home, you're going to have to go back to what is going to be something that's more consistent, which would be the things. He's putting all his dice and rolling on this meetup thing.
Right.
And if he's that confident, who would have found a woman where he stayed? If he's that confident and identifying with women in regard to meeting them, he wouldn't have to go on the show. Because I do agree with Slim. There may be some times where you just want to something catches you off guard. I'm guilty. Something caught me off guard. Something I never did. I never thought about online dating meeting. It caught me off guard, and but realistically, it does make more sense to your environment. Like it is kind of odd that you cannot find nobody like in your proximity. Yeah. So to me, we don't know, but just this is a prime example of how your standards, your boundaries, your belief systems should be, and your characteristics should be something done with vetting. Because look at this, vetting solidifies what y'all gonna do. It's the compromise between two people that may have very different views on dating. That's what vetting is. This is how you come. But when you don't put that much emphasis on it, now you're like, well, yeah, we kind of talked about it. We really. So what? Is that how you want to look at the beginning of any process of dating somebody? That y'all had to go through this bullshit, unnecessary conversations about, not communicating on in these type of topics. Because I'm glad the host asked that question. Because I was wondering, I was like, did y'all really have this conversation? Kinda. That's not a good representation. But
Right.
that's it.
And brothers, I'm gonna just add on to this. I get it. I mean, there's beautiful women all over the world, but you better have that conversation in the beginning on what you gonna do. If you plan on moving to Oregon, you see a beautiful woman and y'all talk. You better already have that conversation because nowadays all people doing now, from what I see, is just they flying people out. Some of them not even getting the sex. And I'm not saying that should be the important thing, but it's looking crazy. We flying people out. So what is the point? What was his real purpose? Was it just to get in her pants? I mean, he's saying he wanted to get to know her, but again, he was very unsuccessful, according to him, in his last relationships that were long distance. They never moved to the same location. So whether they were good or not, he wasn't successful. But let's continue.
Didn't communicate how we wanted to do that. So I think we
I
both dropped the
appreciate that.
ball
Yeah, I
on that
appreciate taking
aspect.
accountability
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
Look at you, just all accountability today.
I know the word accountability is plastered on my head.
Oh man. Okay. All right, guys. So where are we today? What's going on? Is he booking a flight?
He is not.
Oh,
no.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
we both
okay.
agreed to just let this be what it was. I appreciate meeting Jeremiah, the whole experience. Although it was kind of tough, but he's a great guy. I have nothing bad to say about him to this day. So yeah.
Yeah, no, Shayna is a very beautiful woman. She has perfect wifey traits, guys. And
I do like this.
and if you're in the Florida area, definitely.
I don't know. Look, he said she got wifey traits. He don't even know that. You didn't even get to know her. So how is it that you know that she got wifey traits? Come on, bruh. Yeah, I get it. You just giving her big ups for whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's fine. Let's finish this out.
Definitely check her out.
Okay.
But overall, she's a great woman. She has been great through this process, and you never know, you might see one of us again.
You'll see Jeremiah again if you're in Vegas.
Oh.
And I told him this personally off camera. I said, for the right woman and the woman that Jeremiah wants, he'll be an incredible partner. I believe that. So good luck to him.
No, good luck to you.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, friend.
Well, oh God, not the emphasis on friend. Okay.
Listen, bro. I ain't with all that friendship stuff. You know what I'm saying? If I like somebody, and I'll just say that if I get turned down, I ain't really gonna want to be. I mean, we could be cool, but I ain't gonna be wanting to be your friend. You ain't gonna be calling me all the time talking about you need this and need that. I'm good on that. We can go ahead and move on. I'll find somebody else. But that's pretty much it, brothers. You know what I'm saying? Just keep in mind on these long distance relationships, brothers. If you plan on doing that, make sure y'all have a good conversation on what y'all both plan on doing. Because that fly in, fly out stuff, it costs money. And I'm sure that the woman's going to be thinking, like, what are we doing? Especially if you have sex with her. She's going to be looking at you like, what are we doing? But that's pretty much it, brother. That's all I got. Peace.